I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public comment during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Will you please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Chambers, roll call.
Mr. Nichols? Here. Ms. Parkhurst?
Here.
Ms. Smaller?
Here.
Mr. West? Here. Ms. Pritchard?
Here.
Thank you.
If we could have a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting on February 26th.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. West. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Are there any additions or corrections? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Ms. Smaller?
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Thank you.
Are there any other additions, removals, or modifications to the agenda? And if not, I would make like a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, Mr. Nichols, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Smoyer. Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Smaller?
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, superintendent's communication, Mr. Sable.
First, I'd like to start by welcoming our Fenn family here this evening, a large, happy group, and invite Principal Perry up to the front for our presentation, building presentation this evening.
Well, thank you for having us. We're really excited. There's a lot of great things happening at Fenn as we talk about our Portrait of a Bee and our deeper learning. And tonight is just a small sample. We would fill the room, I think, if we brought everybody, and we nearly did that. But we're so happy to have our kindergarten teachers tonight, Mrs. Soria and Mrs. Alm, and they have some students. Actually, why don't we bring them up here now? Come on up here. They're going to talk about an experience they had about voting. And I know some of you board members who were at our building saw this. Some of you may have not or have not. And they're going to share their experience. And then we also have some fourth graders here tonight. So Mrs. Gemmer, Mrs. Merkel, and Mrs. No could not be here tonight, but I'll be here representing them. And we're going to talk in fourth grade about a project we did with Heritage, which is very fitting, that they actually wrote together back and forth and then came together. And I don't want to ruin the surprise, but they're going to talk about that experience as well. So I'll hand it over to Mrs. Alm and Mrs. Soria.
All right, thanks for having us here. Coincidentally, we actually presented this to you guys on voting day back in November, and now we're doing it again on voting day here. So this is pretty exciting. So one of our standards in kindergarten is government. Can you flip to that slide? So this was the standard we used to kind of frame our experience. It was individuals share responsibilities and take action toward the achievement of common goals in homes, schools, and communities. So we spent roughly a week and a half kind of breaking this down, talking about what is our job, what's our civic duty, and we came to the conclusion that voting was one of those ways we could take action. So we tied this into our portrait to help make it a little bit of a more meaningful experience for our students. So we focused on, next slide, collaborator and communicator, and you'll see when the students come up just how they are able to focus on those in particular. And then we focused on our launch very specifically to frame this experience to make it as most meaningful as we could. Could you turn to the next slide? So We talked about how we vote for leaders in our country. We do this so they make decisions and keep us safe, and it's part of our civic duty. And so we listened to this story called Hey Little Ant, and it's a cute little story. It helped the kids understand how to be convincing. And then we asked them this question: how can you convince others to think like or agree with your ideas? And so we asked them this question: what's something we all have really strong ideas about? And we decided it was candy. So the kids love talking about what they like to eat. And so the kids are going to do a little bit of a presentation. They made their posters. We had more options in the experience to vote between in our respective classrooms. But for the purpose of tonight, we're going to present you with two ideas. Would you vote for Sour Patch Kids or lollipops? So we're going to give it to the students.
Sour Patch Kids are very good. They're delicious. They can stay in your pantry for 108 days.
That's how we're going to win. Long shelf life. Hunter, what do you want to add? I know. Sour and chewy. They're sour and sweet.
What's
Sour Patch Kids are sour. That's sweet.
No, jeez. Sour Patch Kids are sour than sweet when you chew them.
So now we're going to talk about lollipops and why we think lollipops are the best candy.
Because they're different colors and they can be two flavors at the same time. You can talk with them when you have them in your mouth. It's a sweet treat for a long time.
So for the transfer of learning, after we did this, we went ahead and we went through the voting process. Next slide. So we had a ballot, and based on the candy that we had in our classroom, we had 5 choices. We had 5 different groups that presented posters and their reasoning. So if you look at this photo, we actually had a roster where students had to find their name and they had to sign so that they knew they had 1 vote and that their 1 vote counted. Then they voted privately so that that was their own personal opinion. And then at our school, we took it to the Fenn Board of Elections, which was our secretary, Mrs. Quater. And she received the box and she tallied all of the votes. So that way we knew that 1 person was in charge of that job and that everything would be fair. So now we ask you, which treat would you choose after hearing our evidence? So when you leave the meeting tonight, we have the 2 choices. Since we won't have time to vote during this meeting, you can vote as you leave. You can make your choice. If you'd like Sour Patch Kids, you can grab one, or a lollipop. Thank you very much.
All right, great job. We can have our fourth graders come up here. Our fourth graders are here tonight. And I just want to say that I'm so thankful for just the work our educators do at Fenn and across all of our buildings. They really take deeper learning far. And it's always a learning experience for all of us. And just their passion for what they do, I put it up against anybody. So I thank all of our educators and our fourth graders, especially tonight. Where are you? All right.
Behind you.
Come on up, guys. Oh, and by the way, kindergarten and fourth grade, I have crumble cookies before you leave, okay? We're going to have to do this in the hallway when we're done because it could really create some issues here. So if I could have our fourth graders come up, they're going to talk about their writing project that they had. And I believe we have Vuk is going to be first. And they're just going to talk about their project. And at the end, we'll kind of sum it up for you. You want to stand on the hand? Let me put this over here, buddy. Just make sure you talk to the microphone, okay?
So, I'm going to be talking to you about the plan of action. So, the students were paired. One student was from Heritage, and then 1 to 2 students were from Fenn. Each week, the students from our schools created a paragraph based on the next slide. Each student typed their paragraph, glued it into the book, and then illustrated that page. The booklets were then dropped off at the other school so that the students at the other school could have a turn, like typing, gluing, and then illustrating. This continued until the end of the project.
For each story, the character did not show much gratitude for anyone or anything, but after being angry about not getting their way, our main character found themselves waking up one day able to hear people's thoughts around them. The character navigated through his or her day and heard various people thinking of what they were grateful for. While the character thought of the superficial things, he or she quickly realized that other people around them were thankful for the basic needs that are oftentimes taken for granted. In the end, the main character changed and realized that they should be grateful for the simpler things in life.
While the holiday bustle was approaching, we started to think about ways in which we could shift our perspective on what we were grateful for and applying this to our story's character.
Prior to our break in December, students and their teachers from Heritage came over to Fenn. Student partner teams met, read their stories, and had a snack and created holiday cards for the senior citizens in local nursing homes. Our books and cards were donated to the Avenue Senior Care, where they were happily received. We thought this project would not only be a wonderful service project before the holiday season, but would also provide a chance for Heritage and Fenn students to meet prior to many Heritage students coming to Fenn for their 5th grade next year.
So then to give you some perspective, they really wrote paragraphs back and forth and they added to their story. And then when they came together, they were able to share the whole story and they got to meet each other, which was really neat. So we're going to have Alec, Natalia, Lauren, and Frankie, and Vuk just come up, share just a sentence that you have, what you liked best about the project. Alec?
What I learned is that my partner got to open up to me and we got to communicate. I just like the fact that we could just combine our ideas to make one really good story. One thing I liked about our project with Heritage is that I got to meet new people.
What What I like most about this project is meeting new people and getting to see how other people write.
My favorite thing about this project was, conveniently, my partner was a friend that I knew from soccer earlier on.
And go ahead. What was the last?
And the cookies.
Yes, we all had cookies for the Heritage and Fen students, and that seemed to be the biggest hit. So thank you to our 4th grade and kindergarten for coming up today. We greatly appreciate it. It's a big deal to stand in front of a crowd, so I really applaud them. Do you have any questions for any of our students?
I got one for the kindergarten class. Who won?
Who won the vote? Who had the most votes? Historia?
So Sour Patch Kids was the winner in my class, and Lollipops were in hers, which is why we presented those two as your options.
I just wanted to thank all the families and the students for coming. It can be a little intimidating getting up there on the podium and presenting, and I appreciate their courage and everyone's willingness to come tonight. So thank you for your hard work and your time coming. That was great.
I'd like it's nice to see a couple things. One, with the kindergartners, them learning about, one of the tenets of our country is the democratic process and how that all works. And then on the 4th grade level, them getting to collaborate and communicate with maybe somebody they don't know, which is life skills that will serve them very well when they get much older and they're like the rest of us that are in this room. So those are really good life skills that will apply forever. So it's good to see.
Yeah, I'd like to thank our Fen teachers and students and our parents for being here today. The deeper learning lessons going on in our classrooms are so vitally important. You look at kindergarten, and I know one thing that I hear as superintendent is, what is kindergarten? Why do we have all-day kindergarten? Don't we play in kindergarten? Don't we learn manners in kindergarten? And the answer to that is we have deeper learning instruction occurring within our kindergarten classrooms. And what's happening is very intentional. I mean, for kindergarten students to be learning about our country and about our electoral process while it's actually in action and occurring is a huge deal. And those kind of lessons are possible because of the all-day kindergarten programming that we have in place. And our teachers know how vitally important it is. I had one of our kindergarten teachers reach out to me just a few weeks ago to talk about all-day kindergarten and their concerns about the potential of losing that type of programming down the road because of how important it is that our students have these kinds of opportunities, which would be quite a challenge if they didn't have all-day programming. And then the intentionality here at 4th grade, where you have a deeper learning lesson where their teachers not only engage them in writing, but also outstretched a hand over to Heritage, which they know that they're going to be inviting their sister school over at Heritage to be part of the Fen family next year and to start building that bridge already and welcoming them over. And then seeing our students take that even a step further and engaging with the community within that lesson is really impressive. So thank you to our Fen students and staff. Appreciate your presentation tonight.
If any of you would like to stay, feel free. It's just...
I don't know. I might leave for the crumble cookies as well. Yeah, I was Sour Patch all the way. So next I'd like to invite Sarah up. Today on the agenda for the board's vote, we have our state mandated reading improvement plan. Sarah's worked with our leadership to put our plan into place. And the state mandates that the board approves this plan in each public school district on an annual basis. This plan has already been presented to our district curriculum committee.
Good evening. I'm going to provide some of the highlights within our reading improvement plan. As Mr. Sable indicated, our district is required to put in place a reading improvement plan based on the requirements outlined by the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce Development. The plan really outlines steps that we are continuing to take in our district to ensure that we have the systems and supports in place that guarantee our students leave each grade level developing the critical skills to be successful readers and writers. The plan that I'm going to be sharing with you today was really informed by 3 critical components that have helped us to really think about English language arts instruction within our district. And one of the components that we took into consideration as we looked at the steps and our goals was the ELA vision and belief statement that was created by our curriculum department chairs at the elementary level that helped us to really think about what ELA instruction means in Medina City schools for all of our students. The plan is also informed by evidence-based practices. We want to continue to lean on the practices that we know will maximize student progress in the elementary level. And the plan will also include steps that we are taking as we move into next school year, where we will start the implementation of our new curriculum. Before I go into some of the details of the goals that we have outlined in the plan, I would be remiss to not recognize the efforts of our instructional coaches within the department, both at the elementary and secondary level, that are really critical in helping us to build the systems and ensure that our teachers have the resources and supports they need within the classroom to achieve success with the students that they're working with. Many of the goals that I will be walking through, they have a hand in continuing to support that implementation. The first area that we outlined within our improvement plan was focused on our curriculum support activities. So as you're aware, based on our past presentations and what we have continued to talk about, as we move into supporting the implementation of a new curriculum, we want to make sure our teachers have the supports and information for successful implementation. We are very fortunate that this school year we had several teachers across the district implementing our new curriculum, which really helped to inform the steps we want to take as all teachers are working in that curriculum next school year. Our department is currently working on creating pacing supports that will help teachers to really understand what that curriculum will look like within the year implementation, and also having the resources to be able to navigate the assessments that they'll be working with and understand with clarity the learning targets that we're aiming for to ensure that we can continue to monitor student progress. As we think about implementation of our new curriculum, the second area that we are outlining goals and support around is the professional development that will ensure our teachers understand the curriculum they'll be working with, and also opportunities to continue to grow their knowledge within the science of reading. Our department coaches will work very closely with our curriculum department chairs at the elementary level to continue to be informed as to, again, what information our teachers need to continue to move forward within this work. And then finally, the third area that we will continue to monitor within our ELA instruction is focused on our data supports and intervention. This was an area that we prioritized within our work this year, helping to grow our assessment literacy within the district understanding the assessments that we are utilizing so we can really respond to that data to ensure those supports are in place. So as we continue through this school year and move into next, we will continue to work with our principals and our curriculum department chairs to ensure that we are putting the right supports in place for all students. So thank you for allowing me to share our plan this evening, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Sarah. I know that you told us this at the curriculum committee meeting, but can you please remind me what WIN stands for?
WIN is a structure that we put in place across our elementary buildings this year, and it's called What I Need. And it's an opportunity where we can bring together our students at a grade level, guided by data, to ensure that we have the right interventions in place, as well as enrichment opportunities based on what the data has identified that students need to continue to grow.
So that's very specific then to each student.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And my last item for this evening is the levy update, the last levy update. I'm not going to get in depth into details, as we've talked a lot about the levy. I think the important thing that I want to say tonight is that remind everyone that the purpose of the levy isn't to expand programming or add new programming to the district. Our administration, our teachers, our staff, our educators have worked very diligently over the course of the last 10 years to implement outstanding programming across our district, and that's been a collaborative effort with our parents and our community. Our Portrait of a Bee is a glowing example of that. We've been able to do that while not getting any new dollars, despite facing the same kind of economic challenges that we've all seen on an individual basis or as a workforce across Northeast Ohio and across our country. And we're proud of the work that we've done in making our students a priority and working together to set goals for our students in moving forward. The purpose of the levy and the ask for new and additional dollars is to continue the great work and the collaboration that we currently have in place. And it's the kind of deeper learning and programming that you hear about each month in our board meetings like tonight. And it's programming that I think is unique to Medina City Schools and sets us apart from other school districts, not only in the area, but across the country as well, where we're not just teaching our students how to read and write and to do math, but we're teaching our students how to be good people, good individuals, be engaged in their community, be engaged in their government from a young age, and want to return to the city that they grew up in. Every day I have the opportunity to see the kind of programming that's going on. Just today I was able to visit Northrop and see outstanding work by our fifth graders where they're doing career exploration, and to see the excitement in those students talking about anything from waste management to aviation to being a florist, and those students having the opportunity to reach out and interview and get feedback and work with actual professionals in those areas to help them with their projects, and then for them to be able to look back and talk about our Portrait of the Bee competencies and what they learned from doing that project and develop their own outcomes. which sometimes was, wow, this is a career I would be excited about exploring as a nurse practitioner, to, yeah, there's no way I want to be a doctor. Which are important things that they're learning and they're starting to talk about as fifth graders. It's that programming that the levy money is meant to go towards keeping in place and keeping our strong relationships together across the district so that we continue to be an outstanding school district as well as an outstanding community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sable. Mr. Chambers, Treasurer.
Good evening. I would like to talk about the February financials. The district bank balance increased $20.3 million. This was due to the collections of property taxes in February to $68.6 million. This is $6.7 million below last year at this time. 5-year forecasted revenues were above last February by $970,000. Personal property, state foundation, property tax allocation, and other revenue account for this increase. The forecasted expenditures were below last February by $250,000. Personal services, capital outlay, and other expenditures account for this decrease. The sales tax fund balance decreased to $4.07 million. The district spent approximately $42,000 in February, with the majority of expenditures on the heritage renovation consultation. The rec center capital fund balance decreased to $537,000 below zero. The district spent $11,600 in February on the hot tub and curtain replacement. And in speaking with the secretary for the business office, they have provided invoices to the city here in January and February, and I believe Jansen was speaking with Ryan here over the past week or so and talking about getting those payments to us. Per the Department of Education and Workforce, the board has to monitor our plan for getting out of precaution. I have added a slide to my presentation for the financials, and it shows the 12-month personnel being reduced by 2.7% between December and February. The district has received $128,000 in investment income for February. This total is approximately $135,000 below the total for all last year's collections. And finally, the district has forecasted funds, true days cash, estimated to be 177 days. This is up from January by 69 days and below last year by 44 days. The district has to have approval of a new fund. We received a grant from the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. Was it Department of Education and Workforce, I believe. It is a safety grant, grant number 499-9224. We're looking for approval of the new fund. It's a grant for $27,000 that Dr. Kwolek put in and received. And finally, we have supplementals for the current agenda. On the supplementals, you'll see the final monies coming for auxiliary services from the state, and also changes to title grants that the district has. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
I have some questions.
Okay, I was going to ask.
Thank you. Mr. Chambers, just briefly, on the financial statements regarding what the city owes us for the rec center improvements, do you have an amount of what we estimate them to pay for, that they're going to reimburse us?
I do remember one invoice was for $460,000. but that was only one invoice that we spoke about. There were a number of other invoices. The $460 was for the pool. They combined the invoices all together. So then there are others that were spoken about.
Okay, and then we did have some outlay we had to because it is our facility?
Correct.
Okay, is it roughly 50-50 based on the joint
For the
operating agreement?
For the pool renovation, it's roughly 50-50. I know the city asked for additional, what would you call it, additional above charges that they would be paying for directly.
There were a couple amenities that the rec center uses in the leisure pool that we did not split cost on, and the hot tub, the resurfacing of the hot tub, that was 100% of the city. So the number is very accurate to what Dave just gave you for what they owe.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And then also regarding the financial statements, I don't know if it's possible, I was just noticing this evening on that very first page, we have the budget for the year, our estimate, and then the revenues and expenses year-to-date column, and then the variance is just the difference between our budget and what we've received in revenue or expended to date. Is there any way, I didn't know with the system, that we can get that estimate to be, I don't know if you budget per month, if there's a way that we can actually see this is our budgeted amount at the end of February versus actual, just to see?
You're talking about what used to be known as an SM2 that the districts would generate. SM2s haven't been around for a number of years, and the reason for that is because of the 5-year forecast. Forecast basically took over for the SM2s. I know that there are some treasurers that still produce an SM2. Basically, that's what it is a monthly estimate for the budget and to get to your overall budget. But yes, we could go ahead and produce that for you.
I was just curious. I mean, as a lot of us, it's a budget to actual. And a lot of people in business, that's what they see and they use each month to see where they're at. And I just wondered if that was possible or easy to do, or
find somehow to
without spending a lot of time.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Mr. Chambers? Okay, board comments. Mrs. Smoyer.
Thanks. Well, I appreciate it. I'm trying to get out of there. All right, just some things that are going on or comments about the treasure. All right, I am not totally with it. Sorry, guys. All right, so one of the things I wanted to bring up was that one of the seniors here at the school is Bree Flowers, and she has had her art taken to the Governor's Youth Art Exhibition, and she was the only student from Medina City Schools chosen at the state level. And her art will be displayed at the Ohio Department of Education. And this is also the same piece that she won at a Silver Key at the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. She's also got some art at the Medina Library too, so that's up for that, which is awesome. I saw the art and I was amazed that somebody that's, in high school could make this art. I hope she gets a scholarship, let's put it that way. And I believe that is part of the thing with the Governor's Youth Art. And then our Medina bands, we want to congratulate the freshman band, concert band, and the symphony band. They all earned a superior rating at the OMEA large group event, which was hosted here at Medina, which was great. So they are doing awesome. And then I wanted to bring this up. I found this on Facebook. So I haven't, obviously you guys know I had surgery, and so I haven't been able to attend very many things. And this came across on Facebook about it was at Garfield schools where they created a life skills club. So these kids came and they presented it to the principal, and they said that they wanted to do life skills. So they've learned many cool things like CPR, cooking, and on that day they had learned to do laundry. So her daughter came home and they did first load of laundry completely independently, and she wasn't even in the room, which was great. So just a shout out to Garfield for that. And I think that's a great thing that if anybody else wanted to do that in the elementary level, because they start to forget about it towards high school.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols.
Yeah, just have a couple things. I unfortunately don't have an update from facilities. I missed it this month. Sorry, Ryan. Please let me back. But I do have an update from curriculum. We went over some curriculum adoptions for the high school. Was, I feel like, a big chunk of the meeting that we really covered there. And we looked at a bunch of the possible curriculum adoptions, the different programs. I know everybody loved the One Ocean book because it was pretty. I liked it because it didn't look like the same books that I used how many ever years ago, because I can tell you the books have not changed. The material has, but they need new graphic designers. They're the same person, I swear. Yeah, we just kind of went in depth on the whole process into the group of teachers that sat down and decided between science and social studies, all right, these are our favorite curriculums. These give us really what we desire to teach and how we want to teach, as far as like digital options, book only options, combination of the two. And it was really interesting, the process that they took to kind of get there. They went, okay, now if Medina was the richest school alive, what would you want? Like, just tell us. And they had mentioned that, for some people it was hard because they're like, well, I'm not going to tell you what I want if I had billions of dollars to put towards the curriculum, because I'm obviously not going to get that. But it was really interesting. We have a teacher who taught in, Becky, do you remember Georgia, Alabama, on the curriculum committee? Florida, all right, close, one of the southern states. And she actually had one of the pie in the sky wish lists, a science table that you could do interactive, like dissections and things like that on it without the smell, the gross mess, the disposal, all that stuff, because everybody in the school knows when it's dissection month, it seems like. And it was just really cool going from, all right, this is our ideal thing, to, all right, this is the bare minimum, and finding a couple curriculums in between that kind of satisfy the whole need that they're looking for and that they're looking to try and teach. So that was interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. West.
Just a couple things. Sadly, I was with Joe. I was unable to attend the facilities meeting this month, as my employer decided to schedule a meeting at 8:30 in the morning. Kind of a little bit of a hazard, but that's okay. Not a whole lot. I did go to Jazz Mataz here recently. Kudos to Mr. Locker, Mrs. I'm going to butcher this, Osnowitz, formerly the Ms. Blasco, and Ms. Snide for putting that on with all the jazz bands from the middle schools and the high school. It was a great time, and also kudos out again to the kitchen staff here for doing the catering for the pulled pork and the mac and cheese. It was really good. A lot of people were surprised when they found out that they actually did it instead of having it catered in. It was really good. I must say, on the Jazz Mataz, I really enjoyed Claggett's jazz band because it's non-traditional. They have a little bit of everything in there, and Ms. Snide explained why that is, because she never got to participate because she was an oboist. So she made that her mission, and I like it. And then also went to the girls' basketball regional final against, and I'm going to butcher this too, Magnificat.
That's close.
Close enough. I must say, it's the first time I was to a girls' basketball game here, and it was nice to see all the energy. Sadly, we were on the not so nice end of the score at the end, but the energy in the building was really nice. And as Mr. Hodke said, he had about 2,000 of his best friends in the building, so it was nice to see a lot of. It was pretty full in the gym, so that was really nice to see. And that's about it.
Thank you, Mrs. Parkhurst.
Thank you. I just want to remind the board members that if you have a committee meeting and you can't attend, you can reach out to your other board members to see if we're available, just to make sure that there's representation there. I, like Joe, attended the curriculum committee and wanted to thank the teachers and our administrators that are on the committee and their parents that are on that committee. It was really neat to see all of the options for the textbooks. Joe mentioned, I think it was marine biology class. There was an environmental science, I think biology, and then American history, as well as some curriculum for our preschool kiddos as well. So we look forward to that being presented when the decisions are finalized and presented to the board in a few months. We appreciate everyone's efforts with that. I attended the final two girls basketball games. I want to thank the boosters for providing tickets to our students to attend that. I think they donated 120 or 150 tickets to those last two girls games, and that was fantastic of them to do that for our kiddos, our students. And it was great to show off our facilities. We played host not only to our own teams, but there were other schools that came and played during that time, and it was great for people in our community and other communities to see what our facilities are like, as well as the OMEA contest that Amy mentioned. There were a lot of schools there, and it's great that people can come, and they always are surprised to see our fantastic facilities that we have, and we appreciate our custodial staff and all of our volunteers and our PAC workers and athletic workers that help out with all of those events. I had an opportunity to attend Mrs. Vlagel's Contemporary World Issues class, which was super cool. Her students were working on the Palestine and Israel conflict in Gaza. They prepared magazines that I did not know they had prepared until the end of the class, because they looked like they were professionally done. They did, history of the area and the leaders, and from the beginning of time, ancient history up until current contemporary issue, and what is going on now and what the conflict is about and why. And they were very engaged. We taught a deeper learning exercise with that. It was very engaging. The students were engaged. They shared that to those of us who were in attendance. And like I said, that end product was amazing, and just a really great opportunity for our kids. And I think that covers it all. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Along with Mr. Sable and Mrs. Busby, I was at Northrop today with the 5th grade career fair. Kids they were just really excited about what they were doing, and I did ask a couple, do you want to do this? And they go, oh, no, not after this. So, but it was also really nice. One of the people, or the two girls that looked into being a reporter, they had somebody from USA Today as like their mentor. And then there were two airline pilots from United. I did want to ask them why they never ran on time, but the airline, but I let that go. But it was fascinating, and it was amazing also that the kids pointed out on the portrait of a bee exactly what they were learning. So I thought that was really good. I also would like to congratulate the Claggett students in the Science Olympiad team. First in flight were Daniel Bell and Adele Oswald. Second in air trajectory, Xander Baker and Daniel Bell. Second in road scholar Griffin Oswald and Bryce Young, and third in wheeled vehicle Bennett Garcia and Adele Oswald. So shout out to those kids for that great work. The high school students of the month were Keegan Lynch and Carly Ostendorf. And the Career Center, we had our third student in a row be the student of the month at the Career Center. Her name was Andrea Keith, and she's in chef and restaurant. If you want to have a good time, Thursday night, the Career Center is having their dragster race at 6 o'clock. Tomorrow, Blake has its talent show at the PAC. And Friday, Root is going to have their mini day, which is going to be a band, and then the kids are going to get to explore different topics. I would like to congratulate the girls basketball team, too. Olivia Klanick was named MVP in the district and co-MVP in the conference. Blaine Chrisman was third in the state in wrestling. The debate team had 2 qualifiers for the national championship, which means they've been able to go every year. I was at Jazzmatazz, and I would like to, Mrs. McClintock, who's a kindergarten teacher at Northrop, she had all these volunteers and everything. I mean, it was just amazing. You could not move outside the pack for not having somebody ask you if you needed something. And then the art show that Mrs. Busby has organized ends at the end of March, and there's some great artwork out there. Huntington Bank and all the different cool beans and whatever. Just kind of go out there. Spring sports have started. You can see the lacrosse was out there practicing. And then on April 5th will be the dedication of the ball fields in honor of Jim Wells. I believe Mrs. Qualick is at 4:30 it starts. Yeah. So it'll be out over here. And it'll be named after Mr. Wells. It starts at 4 o'clock. And that'll be hopefully the first home game of the baseball team. And then I would just like to wish everyone a safe spring break. Be careful out there. And also, I would like to thank the principals for their newsletters. While they're lengthy, they are, however, very informative, and I do enjoy looking at the pictures and everything. So thank you for all your time doing that. Okay.
Ms. Pritchard,
Yeah.
if I may, there's one thing I forgot to mention. I wanted to thank Mr. O'Call. At the last meeting, I had asked for information about our facilities, and he did share that with me. I think it's interesting for everyone to know that we have 266 acres. Our facilities cover 266 acres. Our paving is, we have over 2.3 million square feet of paving, almost 1.2 million square footage of our buildings is covered. That does, excluding our board office and transportation, so just classrooms, we have 418 classrooms with a student capacity of over 9,000. And I think our current enrollment is around 6,800. And then lastly, for our paving, that 2.3 million converts to 37 miles of a 12-foot road. So I think that's very interesting. We have a lot of facilities that we have to maintain. So when you actually we know it, but when you put numbers to it, big area. So thank you, Mr. O'Call.
Okay. Any other comments before I move on? Okay. Action items, Mr. Chambers.
Yes, if it please the board, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the February 24 Treasurer's Financial Report. Item 2 is, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve a new fund, Fund 499-9224 School Safety Grant. And finally, item number 3, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following supplementals to the 23-24 permanent appropriation. And these items are listed on the board agenda.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve treasurer action items. 1, the financial report. Number 2, the approval of the new fund. And number 3, the supplemental to permanent appropriations.
Thank you, Mr. West. Is second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Parkhurst. Any questions or comments? Okay, roll call.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Smar?
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Thank you.
Action items, Mr. Sable.
Number 1 is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following donations to Medina City Schools, as well as the following donations that were made to charitable organizations by Medina City Schools, student clubs, activities, and/or teams. I do want to point out the donation that's being made of $5,000 to the athletic department by our student council. This donation is going to purchase new chairs for our gymnasium. This is for half the cost. Our athletic booster organization is paying for the second half of the cost. These chairs, actually, Ryan brought a couple of them in tonight. They're in the back there, but they are quite old and have been repaired by our maintenance department multiple times. But these are used for any and all events occurring in the gymnasium, whether it is an art event, an athletic event. We've had graduation events for the Career Center in there, and it's just time for them to be replaced. Number 2 is field trips. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following overnight field trips in compliance with Policy 2340. Excuse me. This is for the annual Washington, D.C. trips for our 8th graders. And I'm happy to say that we have both of them on the agenda together for next year. I know that's a goal each year to do that. And they are both going in the fall, or scheduled to go in the fall for this upcoming year. Number 3 is it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the Medina City Schools Reading Improvement Plan, which outlines the steps taken to ensure effective systems are in place to support all students as successful readers and writers. And this is presented by Ms. Jackson earlier this evening. And number 4 is personnel. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve all the following personnel recommendations pending completion of all required paperwork and submissions per our Director of Human Resources. I do want to recognize our support staff resignations for purposes of retirement. All of these individuals have been long-term employees for the district. I think I was told that their time in the district together comes to well over 100 years served for the district, so that's quite impressive. I also want to point out that there is a long list of supplementals that are on the agenda for non-renewal. This is regular business. All of these positions, the intent is to post and refill these going into the next school year, so we continue to offer services to our students.
May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve action items G1 through 4.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Parkhurst. Any questions or discussion?
Just a comment. I know I said this last month. I'm just continuously amazed at the number of donations our district gets from individuals and, in this case, student organizations. One of them I know was $500 to the Lymphoma Society, I think, or from the Key Club. So, these are students out there that have raised money and are deciding to donate it to good organizations, whether it's for new chairs for a gymnasium or an organization that's obviously near and dear to their heart. So I like to see that. So thank you.
I just would like to thank the 3 retirees, Sherry Foltz, Mary Herman, and Connie Stopke, for their years of service to the district. I think it's really impressive. I'm sure they're going to miss it, and I know the schools are going to miss them, but let's look at it this way. Maybe they'll sign up to be a sub, too. So, but anyways, I thank them for all their service. Any other comments? Okay, roll call.
Yes, Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst.
Aye.
Ms. Smeyer.
Aye.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard.
Aye.
Thank you.
Action item, job description. Do you want Dave to handle that? Sure. Okay. Mr. Chambers?
Yes, action item number 1, new job description, payroll and financial services coordinator. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the payroll and financial services coordinator job description. This position is currently being filled by an administrative sub, and we need the job description to actually provide for the services that the coordinator would be doing here.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion
Thank
to
you,
approve.
Got it.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Smoyer. Any comments?
Yeah, this is just describing, well, I look at it as this would be just like in my place of business where we have a position that needs a description, and that's what we're just doing. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're approving a job description at this point. That's all we're doing. It's not going to be a job that's posted tomorrow or the next day, but this is a person we have in place, and we do need a job description. So that's all this is. Any other comments?
So if there's someone already doing this job right now, they're working without a job description? And
They're a sub.
because they're a sub?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that typical?
I don't know.
We have had subs in the past doing the job that this gentleman is doing right now. Basically, he's dealing with payroll, working with timesheets, and working with SERS and STRS. So this description is more detailed, will provide for more latitude on what we could have the position do.
And it's not uncommon for us to bring people in substitute capacities to provide extra support to departments when necessary.
So typically it's more on a part-time basis, but this is an area where we've determined that we need to have someone full-time versus on a part-time as-needed basis. It sounds like this is not uncommon when we need people to fill in as needed, but it appears that this is more than an as-needed basis, that we've determined we need this position full-time.
That's correct. In the past, we've had many more positions in the treasurer's office, and during the downtimes of the district, positions were eliminated, and we've been having individuals take over more work than what has been done in the past, and that has led to errors in payroll and errors in accounting. So yes, this will go ahead and hopefully alleviate those errors for not only the staff but for the auditing purposes.
Just so you know, there were at one time 7.5 people in the treasurer's department. And it's been down to 3, and I know 3.5, and they share a person with Mr. Shields' department. So, again, this is just a job description, okay? We have a person who's doing this as a sub, and we just need to have a job description. So if this position becomes needed, we have it available. Any other questions? Okay, roll call.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Ms. Smoyer?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Parkhurst?
I understand we are short in that area, and I understand it is a need. We have someone temporarily there as it is. I understand it's just a job description. However, considering where we are at this point in time, I cannot support this. No.
Ms. Pritchard?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we don't have any public comment. Okay. So we need to enter into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, or compensation of a public employee or official. Can I have a motion to go to executive session?
I'll make a motion to move to executive session.
Thank you, Mr. West.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Parkhurst. Any questions? Okay. Mr. Chambers, roll call.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Ms. Parkhurst?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Smoore?
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Thank you.
Just so you know, there will be no action taken after. Nothing. We're just going to come out of executive session and adjourn. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you out at BW3s.